Welcome to Out of Bounds with James Skrmetta. I am your host, James Skrmetta. We went long on Monday. That's my fault. That's on me. I was too excited. I was too jazzed up to get this thing going. We had this lavish studio pumped. Everyone in here was pumped. The whole team was pumped. I went a little too long. So today, I'm going to try and keep it shorter. I'm going to try and balance it out. We're going to meet in the middle. We're going to go long on Monday, short on Friday. Okay? We're best of both worlds. And then next week, we'll do a better job, I promise. This week, the only topic we're really going to touch on here is the disaster. And that's the only word to really use. The absolute disaster in New York City. All right, Geno Smith, who's a disaster on his own. We could have a whole show talking about Geno's career and how he plays. But the disaster of him getting sucker punched, as they're saying, by Ike Enemkpala, a linebacker, who I think I said his name right. I'm going to go on the record and say I think I said that right. Geno's out 6 to 10 weeks for a broken jaw after the linebacker punched him in the mouth. Now, there's conflicting reports, as with any fight. But so far, the sources that we have heard from in the locker room said that Enemkpala and Smith were having an argument over $600, which is unbelievable since Geno's making millions. And this guy's on I'm sure, minimum salary. And it's all over $600. The $600 came from, at Enemkpala's, he had a camp, like a football camp in his hometown. And he invited Geno Smith. Geno was the man. He was the headliner, which says a lot about this camp. I hope the entry fee wasn't too much. But Geno was the headliner. And all these kids were there. All these kids in New York were pumped. They said, come on. We want to see Geno. We want to see the savior. Well, Geno shot Enemkpala a note, a text, or a message or something that he wasn't going to be able to show up. He wasn't going to be able to make it, like the day of. So Enemkpala was upset and said, I want the money that I paid for your airfare, I want it back. And Smith said, all right, no problem. That was in July, I think July 10th. And he still hasn't paid it. So it's been a little right at a month. And Enemkpala wants his $600. He wants a new Xbox One, has to get the $600. So apparently what happened was Enemkpala and Smith were going back at it. Words were being shared in the locker room. And Smith said, I bet you won't say it to my face. And Enemkpala walked over there. Smith put his finger in his face. Then a good old-fashioned punch. Doesn't sound like a sucker punch to me. From where I'm sitting, it sounds like a good old-fashioned fight that Geno wasn't ready for. If you're looking at a man, and y'all are talking about money, two things y'all can be talking about that's going to start this. Money or girls. If you're staring at them, and y'all are having a conversation, an argument over either girls or money, good chance at some point there could be some hands thrown. Now in the BLX in Biloxi, where the studio is located, that kind of stuff's called a Tuesday. That's called a Monday or a Tuesday. Hands get thrown all the time. But in the New York Jets locker room, this is huge news. Not so much because of Geno Smith's broken jaw, a.k.a. out for 6 to 10 weeks while he has surgery. That's not even really the biggest thing. Because honestly, where I'm sitting, Geno Smith is the worst possible thing for the Jets. The best thing for the Jets is anyone else. And they have decent options at quarterback. The backup quarterback right now is Ryan Fitzpatrick, or who now is the starter. And behind him is Bryce Petty from Baylor. So before we get into the other options, let's just take a look here. So Enemkpala, who is this guy? Enemkpala. Who is he? He's a 6th-round draft pick from Louisiana Tech. Plays linebacker. He saw 30 snaps last year. 30. Made 3 tackles. That was his rookie season. That's it. That's the guy. That's this guy. Now, this happened on Tuesday. He was released within minutes. Todd Bowles canned him. Released. Just as soon as he was released, he was picked up by an NFL team. Now, what NFL team could possibly want some 6th-round linebacker who's made 3 tackles his whole career? It's only 3 more than me. What team would go grab this guy this fast? Of course, none other than Rex Ryan, former coach of the New York Jets, now coach of the Buffalo Bills. The Buffalo Bills went and scooped up Enemkpala, and all the Bills are saying all the right things. They're saying that we don't care about the fight. We don't care about what happened. He's a good worker. He's a good player. No one knows if he's a good player. He's only played 30 snaps. He's barely played more than me. I'm not a good player. So this is bad. This looks bad for the Jets. Not like I said, not so much about Geno playing. It's not about that. It's about the circus that they are. This doesn't happen to anybody else. This only happens to the Jets because the Jets are a joke. It's a clown show. And Geno's the head of the clown show. Geno Smith got booed. Got booed out of a night practice. Not even a game, like 2 weeks ago. They needed a change. They've needed a change from the minute Geno got there. The minute he got there, that's when people noticed it's not going to work. Geno's not a good quarterback. And he's definitely not going to be able to compete in the AFC East, which is only getting better. With the Dolphins getting better, and now the Bills getting better, and there's no doubt that Geno isn't the guy. I think it's safe to say that even this early in his career, I would much rather give the keys to Bryce Petty, who, from Baylor, 2 years starting, had 8,195 yards, 62 touchdowns, and 10 interceptions in 2 years at Baylor. Hell of a quarterback. Hell of a college quarterback. I think he can play the game. I know he can play the game just as good as Geno Smith. Now back to Impala. He was released Tuesday. Thursday, he was at Bills training camp. And he released a statement. He said, "I want to apologize to the Jets, the fans, my teammates, and the coaches. I apologize for what happened. It should have never happened." My problem here with this particular situation with the Bills is that, in my eyes, this guy was rewarded for his actions, pretty much. If he doesn't get in this fight, there's a good chance that he doesn't even exist in the NFL past this year or his contract. And there's a great chance that he never really sees the field, and he never really gets picked up, and no one knows this guy's name. But because he got in this fight, what a career arc. What a change this could be. Because if this guy does play in Buffalo, which would be surprising, and if he does do anything in his career, it's more than likely only because of what he did to Geno Smith. Otherwise, he probably just wilts away in New York and goes away forever. And on the flip side of that, this could be the last snap or the last thing that Geno Smith does in New York. Because Ryan Fitzpatrick, let me tell you about Ryan Fitzpatrick. He's not good. He's like a poor man's Andy Dalton. And that's an insult to poor people because Andy Dalton's not good. But Fitzpatrick is not going to win you the Super Bowl. But he will keep you 8-8. He'll be right there. He'll be at that 500 mark. Ryan Fitzpatrick, if you don't know him, he's from Harvard. He's played for 6 different NFL teams. Last time you saw him was last year in Houston, where he went 6-6 as a starter. So that's what this guy does. He's a Band-Aid. You plop him on the wound, you wait until you get someone else, then you take the Band-Aid off. That's Ryan Fitzpatrick. So he's actually, in my opinion, he's a much better option for what New York is trying to do, because Todd Bowles is a defensive coach. He's going to come in there. He's going to try and get that defense right again. He's going to try and fix what they have and then worry about the offense. They brought in some people. They have Brandon Marshall. They have some offensive ability right there. And Fitzpatrick will utilize that. He will manage the game better than Geno will. I don't know if you watched a lot of the Jets last year. They were awful. Their offense was non-existent, and that's because of Geno Smith. There's no position in sports more important than the quarterback. And to be in New York and to be that bad as Geno was, it just wasn't going to work. Like I said, I could have told you that halfway through his first season. The happiest person in this whole scenario is Mark Sanchez, because now Mark Sanchez finally gets the butt fumble video off of TV. Because this is the worst moment in Jets history. This is the worst. Not losing a quarterback, but just, what are we, a month, maybe a little bit over a month away from the NFL season starting, and you lose your starting quarterback, arguably your franchise guy, for what it's worth, because of a punch from a 6th-round linebacker over $600? I'm sure if you looked around the Jets locker room hard enough, you could find $600 just laying around. You could probably find that just in the streets of New York. But the fact that their quarterback, maybe his career is over. I would bet that this is the first domino that falls before Geno Smith is not even existent. He might come back and play, depending on Fitzpatrick, depending on Bryce Petty. But I would be very surprised if Geno is still the guy in New York. I think they needed a reason to get rid of Geno. I think they have a reason now. And it's crazy how it works, because really, if you read New York media and you watch TV, Geno is the villain in this whole thing. Geno is taking the heat. Number one, because the linebacker's gone. and Impala's gone. New York's not going to say anything about that. He's a 6th-round linebacker. So Geno's taking the heat. Obviously, he doesn't have the locker room. It's obvious that he doesn't have the respect of the locker room. This wouldn't happen in New England because no one's going to punch Tom Brady. If someone in the New England Patriots locker room, if a 6th-round draft pick sucker punched Tom Brady, broke his jaw, and Brady was out 6 to 10 weeks, that linebacker wouldn't make it out of the locker room, much less make it out of New England. They'd kill him. They'd skin him. It's not going to work. And this guy went from the Jets to Buffalo, and he's a hero. All right, you think that would happen in Denver if someone did that to Peyton Manning? No. You wouldn't get out of the locker room. That just shows how poor Geno Smith was reflected as in that locker room. I don't think this will hurt the Jets at all. Vegas hasn't changed any of their lines, hasn't changed any of the over-under for their wins and losses. I think the Jets will be maybe even better. Certainly in the long run. Like I've said, certainly in the long run they'll be better. But in this moment, in this little bubble, all it is a joke. All it is a joke for Geno Smith. It's a joke for the New York Jet fan base. They should be embarrassed. And they just need to change. And I hope Bryce Petty gets a chance. Because I said on a podcast last year, I said that Bryce Petty was the best quarterback coming out of the draft. Better than Mariota, better than Winston. I'd rather have Bryce Petty. So I hope that he plays. I'm sure he'll play in the preseason. We will monitor that. And I hope that he proves me right. It really does. All right. Since I said this was a short show, we're going to go ahead and kind of go off of that topic. But it is time for the world-famous MLS Minute. I know you wanted it. People couldn't stop talking about it after the last episode. So we're going to do the MLS Minute. It's also going to be shortened because it's a midweek minute. There's only 3 games Wednesday night. 2 of them, though, were semifinal matches in the U.S. Open Cup. So let's get the scarf on and let's play the music for your MLS Minute. People get pumped. All right, scarf's on. Hit the music. Let's go. Philadelphia Union beat the Chicago Fire 1-0 on a Sebastian Letou goal. Let my French out of the bag a little bit there. Sebastian Letou in the 74th minute. The Union lost to the Sounders last year's U.S. Open Cup, so they are begging for some justice. So Philly will be in there, and the match itself will be September 30th in Philly, so they also have the home field advantage. Okay, who they play? They will play the Sporting Kansas City in Philly. So, I mean, KC's got quite the job ahead of them. Sporting Kansas City disposed of bitter rivals Real Salt Lake. I actually watched this game, watched the entire game. I watched the whole game, and this is the rivalry. Sporting Kansas City, Real Salt Lake, they don't like each other. And you could tell. There was probably, I'm not lying to you, I don't have the box score in front of me. I would guess there was upwards of 30 fouls called the entire game. I know one guy had like 7 fouls in the first half. So it was a rough game. Real Salt Lake was very slow. They were playing very slow. They were time wasting. The announcers were kind of laughing about it. And going into the half, it was 1-1. And like I said, it was very slow, very physical, but slow. 1-1 game. In the second half, Sporting KC exploded. More so from the 75th minute on. Benny Feilhaber was the star of the game with a goal and an assist. Sonny Mustavar and Christian Nemeth also scored. The goals, it was 1-1 at half. The goals came in the 80th and 85th minute to break up the tie. So you will get Sporting Kansas City against the Philadelphia Union. Union going to their second final, back-to-back final. That's impressive. And they get this one at home. So you got the Union at home against Sporting KC at September 30th. So make sure you watch, make sure you tune in. And if you're not already tuning in, what are you doing? This is launching on Friday, so Saturday is MLS Day, and then Sunday you have a couple of games. So try and watch. Sunday they're on cable. Saturday you'll have to watch online. But Sunday they're on cable. Fox Sports carries one and ESPN carries the other. Make sure you watch. I'll be watching what I'm watching this weekend. I'll be watching a lot of baseball. I'll be watching a lot of BPL soccer. I'll be watching a lot of MLS. All right. Next weekend is SummerSlam, so we're getting ready. The wrestling world's getting ready for that. Let me know what you're watching. Connect with the show. You can tweet at me. Down below you see the Twitter, you see the Instagram. Go on there if you want to talk to the host. Let me know how the show can be better. I appreciate all of the support, all these views, all the shares, everything y'all have done for this channel and for all this is making it all worth it. Let me take the scarf off here before I get too American. But I do appreciate it, and thank you again. This has been Out of Bounds. Enjoy your Friday. It's almost over, guys. You made it this far. You made it 5 days in. The weekend is just around the corner. Once you watch this show, the weekend's pretty much here. We're the first thing you do on the weekend. So until Monday when we talk again, I am your host, James Skrmetta, and this is Out of Bounds.